Hello everyone, my name is Ella. Welcome back to my Marvel discussion series. Now today we are going to finally be talking about Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and we are discussing the first episode, New World Order. So if you have not watched that yet, go ahead and give this video a pause, go watch that episode, and then come back and join me. Now, to get this out of the way, because I don't want to spend this whole video discussing how different Falcon and the Winter Soldier is from WandaVision, I want to say that I do think they are two very separate entities, even though they are both Marvel, but I think it works for them. WandaVision worked better as a sitcom model, and I think Falcon and the Winter Soldier is going to work better as this very cinematic, high stakes, high action series that's longer format that they've got going so far. So I think that's great. I don't think it's going to take anything from either of the series of them not being, the same exact formatting. And I'm really excited to see where we go with this show. I took some notes while I was watching the episode last night, but now that I've seen it twice and thought about it a little bit more, I kind of just want to, talk about what I think of the show so far and what I'm hoping for from the show so far, because I don't really want to focus on any theories or anything like that. One, because I don't have any yet because it's only the first episode, and two, because we saw how so many people got disappointed with WandaVision thinking their theories were going to be law, and then none of them came true. So I think with this show, I'm not really going to discuss many theories or anything like that. I'm just going to kind of talk about it and kind of give a general reaction to it. The first thing I noticed about this show, and I've mentioned it already, it is so cinematic. It's very high stakes, high action, just like you would assume a Marvel movie would be. And I think that's going to work for this show since there are only 6 episodes in this series. And since I just feel like Falcon and Winter Soldier are more high action characters, so it makes sense for this show to be more cinematic and more explosions and big fight scenes and everything like that. So it's definitely a change of pace from what we've been seeing from Marvel with WandaVision, but I think it works for the characters and it works for what they're trying to do with this particular show, I think. So I think it's great. What I really liked about this show, and I don't want to say that we didn't get this in WandaVision, I just think that it was different. WandaVision just had a different setup, but I like that we're getting backstory on these characters that, yes, we have had in multiple movies already, but we've just never really had a focus on. And I think that's what's so great about these shows, is that we're going to get focus on these characters that we have known for 5-10 years almost for some of them, and just kind of get to know them and find out more about them, which is so exciting. I mean, I'm a fan of Bucky. Just going off the movies alone, yes, we know he was the Winter Soldier, we know he did a lot of bad things, we know that he basically disappeared for 90 years and did nothing but fight, but we don't know about Bucky. We kind of got to see that a little bit in this week's episode, and I really hope that that's something that we explore a little bit further, because this episode made it very clear that Bucky has a lot of trauma over a lot of his past, and I think it's really important that the MCU is showing us a character that is struggling with guilt and depression and PTSD and is going to therapy and stuff like that. I think that is so good for people to see, and it's good for Marvel to be normalizing. So I really hope that we continue seeing this trend of humanizing characters, even though they're these fantastical superheroes and whatnot. They still have bad days. They still have stuff happen to them that would require therapy for any normal human being. And I cannot sing enough praises for Marvel for including, I mean, it may feel like that's just kind of nothing or silly to have a therapist in an MCU movie, but it's a big deal. I think it's really great that they're including a therapy aspect to being a superhero, because there's no way that you would be a superhero and not need some kind of therapy. To talk about Sam for a little bit, Sam is a character that I I feel like we know literally next to nothing about. We got like maybe a few lines of backstory in Captain America Winter Soldier, and that was kind of really it. After that, he was just kind of like thrown into the mix as a normal character, and that was that. He was an Avenger from there on out. So it was interesting to get to kind of hear about what it was like for Sam growing up and to meet his family members and stuff like that. I hope they stay in this series and that it wasn't just like a first episode, let's get backstory out of the way kind of thing, because I feel like part of what makes main characters interesting is the characters around them, the side characters, their family members, their friends, everything like that. And I feel like this show did a really good job of like setting that up in this first episode. We see Sam's family, we see Bucky's friends, and that really added to the episode. This episode wouldn't have been anything if we hadn't had those scenes with those characters. So I really hope that we keep that up throughout this series, and I really hope that these aren't just characters that are kind of being introduced and then they're either one, gonna get offed for character development, or two, we're just never gonna hear from them again. As far as the villains for this show goes, I know we have Zemo is definitely going to be in this show. He's been in the advertising for it since they announced the show. And I don't think we saw him in this episode, unless he's one of the leaders of the Flag Smashers group that we were introduced to in this episode. But I feel like that's highly unlikely. I don't know, maybe we'll see. But I think there's definitely going to be a focus on Zemo, but I don't know if that focus is going to be the main villain focus, or if we're going to hear a lot more about this Flag Smashers group, because we have seen them in other footage from presumably later on in the show. So I think this definitely is something that's going to be continuing throughout the 6-episode run. I just don't know how important of a bad guy they're going to be. And it could be that Zemo is a leader of the Flag Smashers group. I don't know. I'm not casting any bets. I'm not putting any money on anything. I'm just kind of making observations as I go along, and whatever happens, happens. I am excited to see Sharon Carter later on in this series. I have mixed feelings on her as a character, mostly in regards to her relationship with Captain America in Captain America Civil War, because that's a whole thing. And then it's even weirder when you consider the fact Captain America went back to the 1900s to be with Peggy, and then that was her relative, and it's so weird. But as a character, I think Sharon Carter is really interesting. I think we're going to see some really cool stuff with her in this show, and I cannot wait to see her. Rhodey was a surprise in this episode, and that might just be for me because I don't go looking for trailers or anything like that. I don't look at the IMDb pages to see if people are going to be in shows or episodes. So that was a surprise to me. I don't know if it was a surprise to everyone, but it was nice to see him. I actually had kind of thought when I was watching some of the Marvel movies to get myself ready for Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I was watching a few of them and I was like, I feel like Rhodey might be in this show. And lo and behold, first episode, there he was. So I'm interested to see if he plays more of a recurring role in this show, or if it was more just kind of a like one-off thing, just kind of like a cameo, but instead of having it like at the end of the show like they did with Quicksilver in WandaVision, they had it in the first episode, so it would kind of get that out of the way. I said I wasn't going to compare the show to WandaVision the whole video, and that's exactly what I've done. I'm a terrible person. As far as characters and cameos go, I don't really know who else or what else I'm expecting from this show. I think it's possible that we might see Chris Evans in the show later on. I don't know if it will be in the role of Captain America, which is highly unlikely, just because I feel like he's done with the role and he's made it kind of clear that he's done with the role. But there is a fan theory that he's going to come back as Mr. Fantastic from the Fantastic Four, which also seems kind of cheesy and fan servicey to me as well, so I don't think that that's going to happen either. But those are all other people's theories. I don't know if he's going to be in the show. I think we're just going to have to wait and see. This is a show I knew nothing about WandaVision, and that show turned out amazing. And I feel like I know even less about Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and I don't know if that's because Sam and Bucky are just characters that I'm not as interested in. But then again, I was the same way with Wanda and Vision. They were like very, meh characters to me. And then I loved WandaVision. So maybe the same thing will happen with Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Maybe by the end of the show, I'll be like, oh my god, they're the best pair ever. But yeah, my first thoughts, very cinematic, very high energy. I think we're going to see some really cool things in this show. I think it's just going to raise the stakes every episode, and I love that we're having these longer episodes. I think we're able to get a lot more backstory and a lot more action and just general storyline in these longer episodes. So I think that's really going to work out for the show in the long run, especially since it only has the 6 episodes. And I think it's going to be great. So yeah, that was really short, a lot shorter than most of my Marvel videos have been, but I really just kind of wanted to scratch the surface, get initial thoughts and ideas out in the open about what I think about the show. Maybe my next videos will be longer when I have more of a basis of what's going to be happening in the show, but for now this seems like a good place to stop with the first episode. I enjoyed it. I think it was a great introduction, or reintroduction, however you want to see it, to the characters, Sam and Bucky, and I'm really excited to see where we go with this. Now, I did say I wasn't going to talk about any theories or anything in my videos for Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but if you would like to talk about theories in the comments down below, please feel free to. I would love to discuss with you. I know no one ever comments on my Marvel videos, but if you've been afraid to because you don't know how it's going to be received, now is the time, because I love talking to anyone that comments on my videos. So if you have any theories, any ideas, anything that you're excited for in the show, leave a comment down below. If you enjoyed this video, please go ahead and like it down below. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already and you would like to. And if you would like to be informed whenever I put up a new video, go ahead and click that little bell down there as well so that you get a little notification every Friday when I post a Marvel video, and every Wednesday when I post a regular video. Now, if you only watch me for Marvel, I will be back on Friday of next week with a discussion about episode 2 of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And if you follow me for all of my content, or just my regular content, I will be back on Wednesday, and I will be opening my Universal Yums box for the month of March. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Bye!